Yeah, it looks like he might need some bananas. Hello, you fucks. Welcome to John Solo's Beer Brigade. I'm John Solo. You are not. This is the lovely Melissa Gramling back in her home in South Carolina. Melissa Gramling, tell me all the details. Have you been blown away recently? What is happening here?
No, just there's a lot of people.
Yeah, you mentioned that we were just talking about it just before we hit record. So how many people are in your home currently?
Besides me, Mom, and Toki, Nicole, and Victor, my dad, my sister, her boyfriend, and their chihuahua.
So the Chihuahua is actually not a legal citizen either. So you're taking in migrants at this point, which is good. That's very, very charitable of you, I think is the word I'm looking for.
And according to my uncle, the chihuahua looks like a little rat gremlin.
Well, yes, they do. Our little dog Jackson looks like a rat gremlin, and he's not a Chihuahua, but he does a little like bare his teeth thing, but he's only 20 pounds, so what are you going to fucking do? But yeah, lovely. That's a whole other story. So the sleeping arrangement, you're sleeping on the couch, your father is taking your bedroom, and you had to kick your father out of the bedroom to record this show today.
Yes, and even though on multiple occasions between the time I got home till last night, I had to remind him, otherwise he'd forget.
Well, that sounds like me. I might be your father's age, I guess. Anyways, got a big show today. We've got a bunch of releases, and we're going to try playing an audio from a narrator, me, today, to test that out again, too, because we haven't done that since our hiatus. So we'll see how that works. And my stomach is very active this morning, so...
Fun.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a blast. So let's get to the releases here. The first release of the day we had was The Forgotten Christmas Gift, Christmas Colorado, Book 1 by Mason Frost, narrated by Mick Janik. Next we had...
Wayward Love, a Grumpy Sunshine Small Tale Romance, Cedarwood Beach, Book 2 by Reese Everly, narrated by Zachary Zaba.
Zaba. I always love that
He
one.
is a busy man.
Yeah, I've seen that in the last few weeks. He is cranking them out currently. The next we had was The Date Mistake by Joelle Lynn, narrated by J.D. Tomlinson. Then we had...
Curses in Kitsune, Paranormal Yakuza Duet, Book 2 by C.J. Ravena, narrated by Nick Cracknell.
Okay. Yeah, I would say C.J. Ravina, and yeah, there's a lot. Did you look up the Kitsune? Did you?
No, I already knew what it was.
Oh, there you go. I didn't. Good job. Look at you go. The next we had was The Magician's Apprentice, a prequel to the Dragon Mage Chronicles by J.A. Jakin, narrated by Dan Kali. And then we had...
Blood Money, Marquesi Loan Sharks, Book 1 by Sylvie Violet, narrated by Michael Dean.
Chorizo's at it again. Then we had Inheriting Misfortune, The Billionaire Brotherhood, Book 3 by Lucy Lennox, also by Michael Dean. And then we had...
The Little Book of Lesser Known Monsters by Rory Michelson, narrated by Joel Frumkin.
I love that cover. Look at that go. Then we had The Past's Promise by Carolyn Gregg, narrated by Guy Vreezer, I'm just going to leave it there, Guy. I'm sorry about that. It's your unfortunate name. The next we had is going to be our first attempt at this. We're going to try playing a narrator sample. Now, remember, Alyssa, you're in charge of your own mute, so if you just start giggling hysterically, everybody's going to hear you, all right? So let's try this out. Here we go. Hello all, John Solo here. We are promoting a new release. This is from Patricia Logan, little Patty Logan, and it's Silver Ties. It's Silver's Book 3. I need to make clear that there's no need to read or listen to the previous books in the series prior to this one. You'll get the idea. You're going to love this. Here's the blurb. Silver Ties is the exciting prequel to the Master's Boys series. A serial killer is preying upon gay men in Los Angeles. Detective Cassidy Ryan of the LAPD has helped to stop the monster before more mutilated corpses turn up. And they turn up a lot. The victims have one thing in common, and it leads back to an infamous online club called doms.com. The website owner, Zachary Teak, is stunningly gorgeous and infuriatingly uncooperative. Having spent years in Vice investigating crimes fueled by pornography, Cassidy hates the dom on site. Yeah, sure he does. Zach Teak is a wealthy man and a popular dom with a long... Goodness, stomach, stop that. You don't hear that? That's just... Zach Teak is a wealthy man and a popular dom with a long waiting list of subs who beg to lick his boots. The moment he meets the detective, a former Navy SEAL, he is determined to help the handsome blonde hunk explore his own submissive nature. But Cassidy is having none of it. As Cassidy closes in on the killer, he succumbs to Teak's charms, finding that it's okay to give up control and let Zach take charge. Join the men as they flush out a killer while trying not to become victims themselves and have a lot of raunchy sex. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoy. Love y'all. See you next time. All right. I think it worked.
It worked.
Now, I'm gonna put this cover back on the screen for a second because I was observing here. Tell me what you see in the middle of this, okay? Look real close at your screen, and when you look at silver, the word silver,
Yeah.
to the right of that, what I see is behind silver a large penis, and to the right of it is the head. That's what I see. Now, I'm fairly blind, but is that a huge cock on that cover?
I think
behind
that's
it?
a knee.
You think it's a knee? It could... I'm seeing a big... I'm never going to unsee that now. Every time I see that cover, all I'm going to see is a huge cock behind it. Kudos to you, Patty. But kudos. Pulling off putting a large cock on your cover. That's amazing to me. Anyways, the next we had was Molly Boys. gay Victorian mystery suspense / slow burn romance with a supernatural twist. London Underside, Book 1 by Vaughn Cassidy, narrated by Joel Leslie. Then we had
Moonlight Magic, Dark Forest Pack by Annabelle Jacobs, narrated by Dan Callie.
Can't you do it? Yeah, Dan Callie. Can't you do that?
I can't.
Come on. Then we had Knowing You. Words We Never Said, Book 1 by Ian Lindsay, narrated by Kurt Graves. Sorry about that, Kurt. Then we had
Get Frosted, a Christmas Fall standalone by Amy Aislinn, narrated by Cale Williams. Ooh.
See, now on every cover, man, I'm looking for penises. It's like, find Waldo.
No, and I don't know where Willie is.
Yeah. Next one was Blood of Dawn, The Curse of Dawn, Book 2 by Richard Amos, narrated by Will M. Watt and Matt Mercurio. Then we had
The Night Before Christmas.
I see what they did there.
A Nightmare Before Christmas. There we go. Sorry. A Royals and Romance novel by Sarah Rash.
I think you got to get Rash.
narrated by Ellis Evans.
Excellent. Then we had Romeo Falling by Jesse H. Rain, narrated by, once and again, Zachary Zaba. That is fun to say, I got to say it. Then we had
Sword Crossed by Freya Marskey. There we go. Narrated by Omari Douglas.
Then we had The Soldier's Familiar Mates, Book 7, written by T.J. Nichols and narrated by Cassie McLeod.
I think that's Casey.
Well, you could say Casey if you want. I say potato, tomato, tomato. What the fuck? Yeah, Casey. Sorry about that, McLeod. And the last release we had this week was
Blue Star Diner Holiday, a Foggy Basin short story by Brina Brady, narrated by James Talbot.
Nice. Then for what everybody has been waiting for here, it looks like you had a busy week reading. Is that correct?
I read like 4 books.
Good Lord. Well, let's go over them. I'll kick back, and I promise I won't say a damn thing. The first one...
You and I both know that is not true.
First one we had was
R for Rough by Cara D. It was a bullet breaker.
Hey-o.
2 main characters are Tracy and Griffin. They're chefs from a restaurant, and it's an enemies to lovers trope with a whole lot of BDSM mixed in with it. It's book 17 of the Camasia Cove universe. I have not read any of the previous books, and it was a standalone, so it was okay. But and there's a cameo from another from a thruple from her game series, which I absolutely loved and devoured like in a week. There was 12 or 13 books before some more have popped out occasionally. Currently, Tracy was the one that got me into that series. She brought it up several times to me, but I never really was like wanting to get into a. I wasn't in the mood for something like that. And then somebody finally said, "Oh yeah, here's that," and I thought, "Oh yeah, Tracy's been talking about that." So I new to me author Cara D is she's amazing at whatever she writes, and I've just loved every one of her books so far that I've read.
Well, it sounds like you have a large backlist to go through. She actually works with a couple
Yeah.
of people that I work with, and I've been considering. There's a Marie Sexton book that she worked on with her, I believe, and it's a sci-fi book of all things. I have that on my plate for perhaps later this year or early next year. Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
cool.
I didn't, but I love Marie to death, and I love her sci-fi, so I thought it'd be fun. Cool. That was a bullet breaker. That means you're going to have to make an order from Amazon before you read it. The next one you read was
More Than Need by Aurora Crane, who's also a new to me author. Also, somebody Tracy recommended to me. This was also a bullet breaker.
Hey-oh, so you had a busy Amazon week.
And I was at Tracy's house when I read all these. This is an MMM book. It's a spinoff of the Chain Reaction series. That's the series that Tracy got me into. And because she read it first and she's like, "Oh, you might like this." So and I got this one as an arc because I was like, I devoured that series. There was a couple more books from that universe. And then I ended up friending Aurora and basically was like, "Hey, do you have an art team?" So she led me to that, and this all takes place in like Australia. And
I can confirm looking at the cover, I can't see a single penis there.
no, but the dude looks like he's got a headache.
Yeah, it looks like he might need some bananas.
But this really was a good book and continuation. She's coming out with another one soon of two other different people from the same universe. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Excellent. The next we had was
My Demon Mate, which is also a bullet breaker.
my goodness gracious. You had a busy. Were you able to walk when you left Tracy's?
I
Or
didn't do anything at Tracy's. I was just that was just no, not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I understand. What were we talking about again?
I don't know. R.S. McKenzie is the author, and she's also a new to me narrator, and also another book Tracy recommended to me. I've read something by her before. It was called Blue My Protector.
Wow.
And which Tracy also recommended that one too.
How was blue spelled? Do you remember?
BLU.
Okay, I'm just checking. By the way, I've confirmed there are no penises on this cover either. Patty is the goat, man. She really is.
I don't think it was a penis. I think it was just the misformed leg.
That's what some would call a penis. Anyways, I'm sorry to interrupt my demon
Oh
bait here.
goodness gracious. Anyway, this is for Everest and Raven. They're the two MCs. Raven's a demon, of course. Everest gets bullied and beaten up just by everyone, like his dad, his boss, the local law enforcement. He befriends a coworker, and she tells somehow with the conversation, she tells him how she met her boyfriend after a bad altercation with his father. And from what she told him, Raven shows up because he summons the demon. Takes him away, and there is some tail play in this, which was quite hot, and lots of sexy times.
I did notice that on this cover, I'm sorry to go back to the covers again, they're very interesting to me,
Okay.
that the man does not seem to be wearing any pants. I can't see his penis, but it looks like just a white dress shirt, kind of unbuttoned halfway, and no pants on, which men should not, and this is just my own personal opinion, it's a strong one. Men should not walk around with a shirt and no pants on. It just does not look comfortable, and it doesn't look right, and it looks a little odd. But
He could be wearing underwear. You don't know.
he could be. Let's hope not tighty whities. The final one that you listened to is, or read,
His Master by Mary Farmer. Another one Tracy recommended. And it's also a boat breaker.
Okay, yeah. So when Amazon showed up at Tracy's, what did she say?
Amazon did not show up at Tracy's.
No
Because
wonder
nothing happened.
Bob was walking through in his robe and his pipe, and
He didn't have a pipe.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
No.
His Master. Let's hear about this one.
This is book 3 in the Omega After Dark series by Mary Farmer. It's a spin-off of her Bangers and Mash series, which I read after reading the first book of this series, and was like really into Omegaverse at that time. And I think she's got like 4 or 5 books in that series, and I read them all in like a week. And then read a little spin-off with Christmas elves. It was, and that was
You're not into the elves, huh?
well, it wasn't elves. It was people dressed up as elves. It was Christmas time.
I see. I don't know. It makes perfect sense to me.
But yeah, they were like, but it was still in the Omegaverse. And okay, Victor and Simon are the 2 main characters in this one. And they meet on a kinky fantasy app where you can live out your fantasies for a weekend or a week or however long. Usually there ends up being some mild suspense after like the first or second day. And like somebody either is going to die, something is going to happen. And it happened with the first book, and I was like, it kind of threw me for a bit, but the second book was a kidnapping, and this one ends up being a family issue for a company. And but these 2, after they get together, they usually end up bonding quickly, which is like a fated mates type thing. But it was a very hot book. It was very well written. I've loved her stuff ever since I've read the first book of Peter and the Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I need to go back and reread that one. And
it sounds like you've got a lot to go back to at this point.
Yes.
16 books in another series. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You did great. Thank you for putting all this together, as always. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening and all of that good stuff. I do have to announce at the end of the show here, we are no longer putting the links to these books in the description. And there's a long reason for that, but basically YouTube don't like it. So
Yeah.
These are available wherever audiobooks are sold. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.